So the 55% that's left from that number is divided in half. Half of it goes to what's called statewide programs, and the other half goes to regional programs. So that money, and each district, including the Fredericksburg district, will get its share. And the share is based on a combination of factors. It's basically vehicle miles traveled, its population, its land area. And what the bill did is it basically took all the old plugins to the old formulas and applied it to the new formula. So again, in terms of, as an example, the old secondary formula was land area and population. Well, that component is now plugged into the formula. So all of this money, all of the projects will go through this House Bill 2 process. Unless or until the General Assembly changes the law, there won't be, frankly, we operated under lists of projects over the years. We had a governor's list, or we had a General Assembly list, or we had a governor and General Assembly list, and that's how a lot of times projects were funded. So what happens for the Fredericksburg district is your NPO and your planning districts will put projects forward and say these are the most important projects for us, and they will go through the scoring process. And then working with, again, with planning districts and the Metropolitan Planning Organization, FAMPO, the Commonwealth Transportation Board will ultimately fund projects. So projects are not brought forward by VDOT. There is a provision that allows for the Commonwealth Transportation Board to bring forward a project if it is, I'll call it, missed. But I think the reality of that is those will be few and far between. The projects that we put in the program are projects that are going to be brought forward by a planning district or by an MPO. Important roadway in our region in I-95. When it's not working, Route 1's not working, people are trying to find their way. I live off of Mine Road. People will try and find their way down Mine and Lansdowne Road. They'll find any way to get around the congestion. We have been working with the concessionaire Transurban, who operates the facility, to look at what I'll call operational improvements at the terminus to get the through traffic, the traffic that wants to go south of Garrisonville, have them enter back onto the highway just south of the Garrisonville interchange. The exact nature of it, frankly, depends on how much it's going to cost, but we are looking at extending both the southbound direction past the Garrisonville interchange and picking up northbound traffic that wants to get into the express lanes before they get to Garrisonville.
The question is how we pay for this. Private sector, a lot of elected officials say, well, we're just doing a partnership. As if nobody pays for it. The private sector is not going to pay for it. We're going to pay for it. We love our capitalist society, but guess what? It comes back to us. You can pay through it through tolls or taxes. But anyway, you have to pay for it. So why don't we look at P3s? Why don't we look at more public-private partnerships? I'm a big proponent of both. It is not the magic bullet. The I-95 issue, I'm reading the editorials in the paper, and I think it's spot on. I congratulate the paper for raising this issue, and others that raised this morning. I think it is a crisis. I think we need to do better than I-95. I do think it's a national security issue. When I was running for my last election, I thought about creating, looking at how to create a regional innovation center. It's kind of hard to get regional governments to engage in revenue sharing and those kinds of things, but you know, I was on I-95 on September 11th, 2001. And in 14 years, I remember that day. I remember it took me a long time to get on, among other things. We haven't done a thing in the intervening 14 years. We built the hotline, but that capacity was kind of already there. But we haven't done a thing except add new stuff along the corridor.
Talk a little bit about what leads up to that, which is the planning process, and how we look at some of that data in depth that folks are asking about to try to assess what are the needs for transportation investment across the state that then localities, MPOs, others can suggest projects to help address those needs. So key pieces of that we're really focused on right now are the 2025 needs assessment, where we define what do we see as the needs across the state. And then later this year, we'll be doing scenario analyses to 2040. Getting to some of those questions happens just focusing on what do the technology trends suggest about what we may need for transportation in 2040 has been on that needs assessment. Because it's very closely tied to that HB2 funding process that we've been talking about this morning. This needs assessment for 2025 is used as a screening for projects that get recommended or nominated for HB2. So as we map out and define needs in this VMTP process, those needs will be in a table, will be on the map, and when projects get nominated in HB2, VDOT, DRPT, others will look at those needs and ask, is this project going to meet a need on this map or in this table?
Or the transportation problem in many different ways. Bill of transfer will charge you whatever it takes for them to have a healthy bottom line profit. And that's how we need to look at this transportation problem. It's costing us, each one of us, more and more money every day. So it's the old pay me now or pay me later situation. And with that, I want to introduce our guest legislators. We'll start with Matt.
I think we spent a lot of time talking about prioritization and not really dealing with fundamental issues that we need to be dealing with. But we do need to start looking at a project completion of what it's actually going to do for us. The Falmouth Bridge intersection, talked about that project. We ended up adding a few turn lanes, changing light signalization. You know, how much is that truly going to impact? But
so bottom line, Matt, you do support the...
Yeah, it's something that's going to be...
Yeah, you support the Rappahannock River crossing. You just don't know when it's going to happen.
That is going to be a decision made at a higher level than us.
All right, an increase in gas tax or a change to the taxes based on miles driven in Virginia, as Oregon is now trying?
I don't think I have the answer to that yet. I think it's something that needs to be looked at. I'm not sure you can simplify it to drive miles driven. And you need to look at the bigger picture because it's not only Virginia residents that use these roads and how that gets shared. So as we look at changing the way we deliver energy and gas becoming less of the commodity that we use, I think it's going to have a bigger impact. It's going to have to be addressed. So I do support an objective and qualified review of that whole system to ensure we're looking forward and making sure that the taxing mechanism is fair and can support the needs of the region as we move forward.
Yeah. They recently closed the bridge on Route 606. I guess you've heard about that.
Yeah, it was a major issue for us, that's true. And
I heard that bridge had been inspected several months before they closed it and seemed to be, got a passing grade. Is that correct?
What we were told is that bridge had been repeatedly inspected. They knew it had issues. They were very surprised at the rapid deterioration of that 606 bridge. Some of the concerns are we have other bridges built at the same period of time, and are we going to have those same issues? That bridge was in line to be replaced, and I will say that VDOT brought a bunch of issues to the Caroline County Board. We looked at what projects we could delay to actually start that one sooner. We moved one bridge project back to start that one, and I think in the long run, one of the options we had was closing that bridge one lane and then doing one lane and then the other. And with the failure, I think the VDOT solution is actually going to get that bridge back in service much faster than doing one lane and then the other. So I think ultimately, though we knew it was a problem and it became catastrophic, we ended up with a good solution to a bad situation.
Did politics have anything to do with the closing of that bridge?
Oh, absolutely not. It completely failed. They came to us within a day of finding out that there were actually holes in the structure.
And
according to the VDOT structural engineers, that bridge needed to be closed entirely to all traffic.
I suppose you agree that the Commonwealth needs to create more tax revenue to fund road improvements.
Yes, I agree.
I think we got that message.
We're the only locality right now in Stafford that charges a transportation impact fee. For every home that's built, that builder, that home buyer, whoever, pays a $3,000 fee that goes into our transportation fund. We also leverage money from PRTC through the gas tax, and we also collect proffers from our builders and developers for transportation. With that money, we leverage with VDOT. It's a 50-50, or $10 million. We provide $10 million, they provide $10 million, up to $10 million a year for local transportation projects. So currently, we've got 17 projects, either in the works or on the drawing board in Stafford County right now. And many of them are just Stafford County local projects. For example, Truslow Road. I don't know if you're familiar with that. A little winding, crooked road that was designed by a snake with a broken back. That crooked road is being straightened with those local dollars. Now, statewide, would something like that work? A statewide transportation impact fee on new homes, apartment buildings? I think it probably would.
It's not going to be along Route 3. It's going to be along 95, south of Route 3. We feel that the recent widening and the light sink has vastly improved traffic along Route 3. As everyone here probably knows, I opposed the toll road when it was put before us. I still question whether that is the best bang for the buck. I think his disagreement on FAMPO is semantics. I think we've made a lot of progress. But
Well, let me ask you this question. The racetrack's scheduled to open next October. Are you going to have these projects finished by next October?
Not the J-Ramp, no, but the rest of it will be.
Very good.
Stafford's a great place to call home. It really is a good place to call home. I've been there all my life. And the biggest issue that we have, the biggest question I have is transportation. And a guy came up to me at Walmart the other day and said, you know, it was so much better here 5 years ago. I said, you should have been here 50 years ago. You think it was better 5 years ago? Come on, 50 years ago.
$10 million short. That's to maintain roads based on future development. We're never going to make up that money. Proffers by themselves, you get in the whole issue of cost and everything else like that, they aren't going to get us anywhere close to what we need. One thing that Charlie and company did not mention about HB2 when they're grading those projects, if a locality commits money to the project, it is going to positively impact that project. So when Northern Virginia goes up and says, we've got a $20 million project, we've got $10 million we can put on it because they've got the special taxing authority up there, they're already leg up on us. And right now,
plotted all these little subdivisions all over the place without any thought of interconnectivity, without any thought of walking trails, without any thought of bicycle trails. That's spots in. Same things happened in Stafford, Gary. And, you know, we were kind of closing the gate after the cattle were out.
You can't get anything that you consume in this area without a truck. Besides the personal transportation problems, we have the problems of moving all kinds of equipment and goods. And then the acquire light, the backup there, goes for miles. So we are in a crisis situation in this area with transportation. Now, what can we do about it? Let me say that we made a lot of improvements. Local government is not the problem. Local government wouldn't do this, they couldn't decide that. Stafford County couldn't decide on what to do about the Falmouth Light for years, and Spotsylvania fought this, and Fredericksburg fought that. My judgment is those days are over, that we're all in this together, and through the planning organization, FAMPO, the Regional Commission, we have a mechanism to resolve our problems. First of all, the Chamber of Commerce is bringing attention to this problem through its committee. We need to support the Chamber and its efforts. The second thing we need to do is to support the regional commissions, the FAMPOs. They're on top of things. We need to support that, understand what they're doing. And we also need to support the Freelance Star, the one organization that can call attention to these problems consistently in the editorial Here it is, right here, on Sunday's paper, really tells us the crisis we're in. Alfie and our political leaders, first of all, the federal government, they have absolutely failed us miserably on transportation. Highway bill, there's no long-term funding, and the only thing that will change the federal government is our group right here, you, our citizens, demanding that our local representatives do something about it. Unless you tell those politicians, raise the gas tax, it's not going to get done.